Happy New Year, Fastenal seller. If you can hear my voice, you made it. You made it to 2021. Congratulations. Just want to welcome you to this is our new Fastenal/Ansel podcast. I'm Scott Moore. We're going to call it In the Know, and it's going to be a podcast all about the Fastenal-Ansel relationship, all the pertinent information, news, product highlights, interviews that will either entertain you or keep you in the know. And hopefully that it will be a source of good information to you as we go forward to help make your life a little easier. We don't want to bore you. That's the big thing with this show. We want to bring you important information that is going to be relevant to your sales jobs and try to entertain you in the process. So indulge us in our radio voices, if you will. And I don't know if you noticed, but that bumper music sounded a lot like Austin Powers. If you have any suggestions for the show, don't be afraid to dial me, to email me, whatever you need to do, get the message across. Would love to see hear your feedback and see if we can't make the show a little bit better each time we do it. So got a good show today. Going to talk about Premier Alliance, some updates on that. I'm also going to be visiting with Meaghann Berneche, who's our marketing professional, and some of the exciting new things with in conjunction with the shared investment status that Ansel has with Fastenal now. Also going to be reaching out to one of our regional sales managers. Got a good interview with Marc Polanco. He lives in Texas, handles the what we call the South Central region of the United States, Texas and Oklahoma, New Mexico, anywhere in the United States where they think that real barbecue has anything to do with a cow. That's what Marc Polanco handles. And also, you're going to be meeting what we're going to be calling the Fastenal Hero, which is a person that has really done a great job in partnering with Ansel in building their business. So, with that being said, we're going to start our show. So, one of the things we wanted to talk to you about today are some of the changes with the Premier Alliance program. As everyone knows, the Premier Alliance program on the Fastenal side has gone away. It used to be a Fastenal managed program. What we want to inform you guys today on the show is that essentially that Premier Alliance is still a very active and vibrant contract-based pricing structure on the Ansel side. So it is alive and well, still managed by Gabe Drolet on the Ansel side. It is simply now a pricing structure that is exclusively managed by Ansel instead of Fastenal. So if you have any opportunities that you are interested in talking with Gabe or myself about using Premier Alliance pricing on, please reach out to us. This is something that we were very successful in as a partner organization with Fastenal in the past 2 years prior, and it's something that we want to continue. Some of the tremendous momentum that we've experienced in the past few years and carry it forward into the future. So again, it's still alive. It's still there on the Ansel side. It's simply just an Ansel managed program and pricing structure instead of it being on the Fastenal side. And we're very excited to continue in that and to make sure that we are still engaged as well as we can possibly be. So again, if you have an opportunity, reach out to us. Let's talk about it. Let's find out what levers that we need to pull to make business together. But now let's talk to one of my dear friends, Meaghann Berneche. Listen, if you know me, you know I am not a marketer. And I want to let you know if there's anything that is exciting or innovative from the marketing standpoint comes from Ansel, it does not come from me. It comes from Meaghann Berneche, and we're so happy to have her as a partner in this relationship. Meaghann, welcome to the show.
Why, thank you, Scott. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks. So there's been an exciting new development in the relationship between Fastenal and Ansel, and that is the brand new 2021 shared investment program. Tell us a little bit about where we're at.
Well, Scott, I'm really excited about this program. We have accessed Class 1 Platinum level, so that means that top of the top engagement. We're going to be partaking in the sports marketing program on top of all of the different district meetings. We're really excited to get our hands in that and provide a lot of good assets for the Fastenal team.
That's really exciting news, particularly coming from where we've been relationship-wise. We were nowhere near this level of engagement even just a couple of years ago, right?
Oh, no, we weren't. It was a very different relationship, and it's going in the right direction, and it's a lot of good stuff coming from both teams.
Excellent. So you out there in our podcast listeners, Meaghann is going to be a pretty regular presence on our podcast. She'll be popping in and out and giving some information marketing-wise. So look for her voice. If you have any questions, you can contact me. You know the number, and we look forward to talking to Meaghann a little bit later.
Well, thanks, Scott.
Again, can't reiterate enough how good Meaghann Burneche is at her job, and she's going to be doing her due diligence to prove that to you for the next few years before I'm sure she gets promoted over me in the Ansel world. But again, we appreciate Meaghann for joining us and giving us some info on our new platinum status with shared investment with Fastenal. Going to pivot now and speak with Marc Polanco. He is one of our really good sales resources. He's a regional sales manager based out of Texas, and he's going to be talking about a very pertinent topic: single-use or disposable gloves. We call it single-use in the glove world, but in the middle of a pandemic, as you guys very well know, it's a very hot topic, and there's just some important information that you guys should be made aware of. So joining with us now is Marc Polanco. Marc, we've heard a lot about the scarcity of single-use or disposable products in the market. Just what's the scope that we're talking about? How big of a problem is this right now?
Well, good afternoon, Scott, and I appreciate you reaching out to help answer some of these questions. Regarding the scarcity of single-use globally, we are probably in about a 200 billion unit deficit globally. So what we're seeing right now is pretty much economics 101, where demand has exceeded supply. And I don't think it's uncommon for any of us to go to the gas station, grocery store, even somewhere where other people are meeting, where everybody's going to be wearing PPE, whether it be masks, gloves, and body protection in some instances. So with that being said, it is being very, very scarce across the globe in all aspects of PPE.
That's amazing. I mean, to put your arms around a number like 200 billion that's unbelievable, but it's a reality. So in light of disposable gloves in their shortage in the market, what strategies have you been putting together with your sales team that obviously these people in these markets still need protection, but maybe the inventory is not available? What strategies are you implementing as a sales manager?
So we're looking at other options for offering the same type of chemical protection. So we're looking at using a reusable glove with the same core material. So for instance, using a straight nitrile glove that can be reused, still has a lot of dexterity, but can be used multiple times opposed to using a reusable glove. We're seeing a lot of cost savings that potentially could be experienced by going to a higher end reusable glove opposed to using boxes and boxes of single use gloves throughout the day.
That's a really good point. I think a lot of times when you go into an end user facility and you attempt to sell a glove that might be maybe too expensive, and the first reaction by the end user is, no, it's just the piece price is too expensive. But maybe it just takes the step of pinning it out, of showing them that this could actually be used multiple times or in a fashion that could add massive cost savings to the end user.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing right now is we're having to, it's in part with the end user. They have to be open-minded to make this type of change. This is a paradigm shift that nobody was expecting pre-COVID-19.
That's a really point.
So having to go into the conversation with having to think outside the box and make these recommendations.
That's a really, really good point. So, you've been tasked with growing your region, which is, you're based out of Texas, as I said earlier, but you've got a very large area that you go over and you manage. But in a time like this, what are you doing and how are you pushing salesmen forward to grow in such difficult times?
So nobody expected COVID-19 to do what it did to the economy in 2020. The way I'm focusing my team, is to look outside of the single-use market, looking at the chemical vertical, looking at mechanical. We're still extremely strong in the mechanical space, and as we're seeing more and more manufacturers reopening, they're still going to need that need for cut protection, whether it be for general purpose cut resistance or even sleeves. Also, we're looking at exploring other options for body protection. So some of our higher end chemical suits are still available.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, of course, Fastenal has emerged as a huge growth driver, huge growth supplier of our growth at Ansell over the past few years. But, obviously you're located in Texas, but you manage a team that has a lot of real estate. Specifically, can you give us some more specifics of the region that you manage?
Sure, absolutely. So I manage Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and southern Mississippi. I have 7 direct reports, and then we have countless resources in the Texas and Louisiana market. I want to say that in aggregate, we have upwards of 15 sellers in the Texas South Central region market.
Wow. So there's just a ton of real estate, but you've also got many men and women that sell on your behalf as the regional sales manager. But what verticals are you really focusing your team to sell into this year?
So right now we're focusing in the chemical vertical. Again, since most of our business, a lot of our business is along the Gulf Coast, petrochem, downstream petrochem business is still a large focus for us. With our acquisition of Ringer's Gloves, we now have more options for the Impact Cut line. That is a very desirable product in those verticals.
That's a really good point.
Also manufacturing. And manufacturing is a very broad term, but automotive, again, if we're looking at petrochem manufacturing and midstream, we're starting to see those businesses come back, and that's where I'm focusing my team right now.
Well, listen, Marc, I really appreciate the time. It's been very enlightening on some topics that have not been particularly easy to navigate for the past few months, namely the single use and maybe converting some of our customers to a reusable gloves. I think it's a great idea. If some of our listeners out there have heard that, hey, this is part of my region too, how do they get a hold of you as far as opportunities to go in and venture in together?
The easiest way would be to call my cell phone. That is 210-825-5130. It's much easier to give me a call or text, and then we can communicate. And if you're outside of our region, I'll be more than happy to get you in touch with one of my peers or one of our fellow territory managers. Now,
before I let you go, there's one account that you wanted to talk about.
Absolutely. So the most recent news, probably the biggest news that hit Texas in the number of months, is that Tesla is going to be moving to Austin. I believe the first date of production is going to be at the end of 2021, and I have identified Fastenal as the partner that we want to start pursuing that business with, not only in the construction phase, but also as production starts to kick off in 2021.
Yeah, that's
very excited. Great opportunity.
That is very exciting. Not to talk over you, I apologize, but I think a lot of sellers forget how much revenue is not even thought about in the construction phase of new plants.
Absolutely. Very exciting opportunity for us.
Marc, I really appreciate the time, and safe travels to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
All right, now join with us today on our first podcast. He's our first Fastenal Hero of the Month. Chuck Davis joins us, and we're going to explain what Chuck did to get this name, Fastenal Hero of the Month. But before we do that, welcome to the show, Chuck.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing well. Wanted to tell all of our listeners exactly what the Fastenal Hero of the Month is, so that they can be sure to be thinking about it for next month. So the Fastenal Hero of the Month is someone that has partnered very closely with Ansell and their products and services to grow their business. And the word on the street is that, Chuck, you have done this, time and again, utilizing the products and services of Ansell to grow your business. And it was kind of a no-brainer when it was talked around the table of who should be the first one to be chosen.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a pleasure working with alongside your team over the past several years.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. So what you get in return for being the Fastenal Hero of the Month is you get a $50 gift card. So anyone that's out there that's listening and that may be interested in this type of thing, there is a monetary reward to this. But, what we want to do is we want to get your story out in front of your team at Fastenal so that they can say, hey, wait a second, I do that too, or I call on that vertical as well, and maybe it makes sense for me to join up with Ansell a little bit more intimately. So, I guess first off, you've been doing this for how long with Ansell? A couple years?
Yeah, I would say consistently it's been probably 5 years.
That's great.
I've been engaged with the team overall for about 9 or so.
Now, and you're not new with Fastenal, so tell us how you got started with the organization and how you moved up.
So I've been I'm going on about 16 years right now. I followed the common approach of starting at sales support. I started in Virginia, and then I moved along and managed a branch in Boston, managed a branch in New York City, and then ultimately found my way to South Carolina, and that's where I had the opportunity to join the safety team out of South Carolina, and then transitioned to North Carolina I think that was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So overall 16 years and 10 years with the safety team.
That's fantastic. So when did you really start connecting with Ansell in those 15 years?
Now, to be completely transparent, it wasn't until about 2016 that I started really engaging. I was at that point I had transitioned into a strategic role, and I was really focusing more on the corporate platforms
Mm-hmm.
with organizations that you guys have been working with me on, with Eaton, Parker, ThyssenKrupp, and that's where I really saw the benefit of being able to align with the partners that could help with these multiple site opportunities and the hazard assessments. And that's really where it stood out for me when I got into the strategic role.
Gotcha. It always seems to be that one first bit of business that you pick up using a hot product or a cool service. What for you was that major piece of business that you were actually able to collect and put it in your wallet and say, wow, that works. Let's do that again.
So the light went off. It was probably 2016 when I was diving into the Eaton business, and they are industrial manufacturing and
Yep.
heavy in the metal fabrication.
Mm-hmm.
And there was constantly a need for a solution for residual oil saturation in the glove with cut resistance, and that 11-927
Mm-hmm.
was just the answer. And that was really where I got hooked, and I used that glove from site to site, and it really created the path of how I started working with you and your team across the country, because we were able to implement that specific glove because of the solution was, it was applicable at all of their facilities.
Yeah.
So that was really where I got attached.
So, obviously this is a podcast that's produced by Ansell, so we're quite partial to our products, but, tell some of our listeners what made it so easy with working with Ansell. Obviously there were some changes that were made in 2016. There was a closer alignment, but since 2016, what's made it so much more easily done to connect with Ansell?
I'm glad you brought that up, because we were doing well organically, I guess you can say, up until 2016. I mean, we were both working for the same goal, just not alongside each other.
Yeah.
And that's really where I saw the shift. And I saw the shift because I finally got the sense that we had the same objectives, that we knew what the expectations were for each side.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to see, especially for me at least, that steady communication, and there was a genuine interest to be engaged with with my project specifically. And that's really where it sets the stage as to why I would align with the manufacturer. I want to align with a partner that has a genuine interest in our goals and in the projects that we're working on.
That makes total sense. So if you could give any advice to your Fastenal colleagues about Ansell, what would it be?
I would say, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And I would I would highly recommend that each of my team members make sure that they are connected with their local and regional and corporate contacts within your team. Because setting aside the knowledge that you guys can bring and the resources, we divide and conquer quite a bit. I can't make it to all the Guardian assessments, but I know that your team will go in on my behalf. And just having that relationship, it really helps, move the ball along and establish that path forward.
That's great. I know that, when we talk about your products and services, obviously Ansel Guardian is the one thing that we push at Ansel as far as being in touch with, the style and the method that we go to market. You've done a fantastic job building your business in conjunction with using this service called Ansel Guardian, and it really is a testament to the close relationship, but also the change in the style of a relationship we've had, quite frankly, since 2016. So when you use Ansel Guardian, do you have a particular vertical that you really enjoy calling on with Ansel, and why?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's with my book of business, 75% of it's in industrial manufacturing, with a heavy influence of metal fabrication. That's where I have utilized the Guardian assessments and the products that Ansel has for solutions. So that would be my vertical that I prefer to stay in when it's working with the Guardian.
Very cool. Well, listen, we certainly appreciate your support. You've got a $50 gift card coming your way. We can't thank you enough for what you do for the relationship, Chuck, and just thank you for being our hero of the month.
No, I appreciate it, and I wouldn't be, I have to give a hats off to Gabe. Gabe has really stepped up and has been a valuable resource to my business. So if I didn't, give him a nod during this, I wouldn't be doing my justice.
Well, he appreciates it, man. We certainly appreciate it. Have a good day. You stay safe. Take care of your family.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Bye. And just like that, our time's done for this episode of In the Know. Really appreciate you all tuning in and listening for our few moments together. Appreciate all of our guests who were on the show: Meaghann, Berneche, Marc Polanco, and of course our first Fastenal Hero of the Month, Chuck Davis. If you need to get a hold of Marc Polanco in the South Central region, his telephone number is 210-825-5130. That's his cell, and his email is marc.polanco, marc.polanco @ansell.com, ansell.com. Again, we thank you all for listening to our inaugural In the Know podcast. Stay tuned for next month's podcast, and until then, be good to yourself.